Hi there, welcome to exercise 10 of What Can I Paint Next art course. I'm in Old Chamber near Hebden Bridge and I found a lovely view over my shoulder here that I'm going to be using for exercise 10. I'm going to do the planning sheet for this particular one, but this time instead of actually painting it here, I'm just going to be collecting information. I'm going to be doing sketches, a quick tonal sketch, a little bit of a colour palette with a colour sketch, just to get an idea of where it's going to be. And I've done some photographs of compositions and things. All I'm doing is looking at textures, looking at lines, and where in my head all these things are going to fit together in the painting. Then I'll take them all back to the studio and do them all in the studio. In exercise 10, it's going to be a good idea to start using sketchbooks now. Sketchbook is going to be your friend, especially going out into landscapes. But because the exercise is going to be more involved, it's not just one scene or one object or anything like that. And when we're going to section B and C, sketchbook's going to be the way to go forward. Or if you do a lot of things digitally, you might want a sketch file where you can keep ideas and stuff. I'm going to fill in the planning sheet and get a few sketches started. All right, see you in a bit. The other thing about this particular exercise is we've started looking at the landscape as a noun. The next thing we're going to do is start to look at the elements within the landscape and give those the adjectives. So instead of just the whole landscape having an adjective given to it, each part of the landscape is going to have some adjectives. So that's what we're going to look at now. Okay, exercise 10 planning sheet. The landscape is Old Chambers near Hebden Bridge. Sources, well, I'm going to be using photographs, I'm going to be using sketches and any additional information, jotting down, that sort of thing. The elements in this picture, well, we've got a stile, stone wall, a footpath sign. We also have the background of the trees on the hill and the sky. Right, now we're going to give some of these things adjectives. So the style is wooden, old, scraped. The stone wall is fresh, dry stone, and the pillar that's holding up the stile, that part is very worn, so very worn. The footpath signpost, we have old, worn down, faded, lichen covered. And then in the background we have the rolling hill. So the trees, we've got deciduous, farmland, rolling hills, and the sky, fluffy clouds, blue sky, fluffy clouds. Yeah, that it's really making me actually look right into the scene and actually take my eye around every single bit and think, right, what is it about that I'm looking at? This whole scene, this that we've found, what's drawing me into it is the angles of the stile and the woods. And stiles themselves, to me, are like a bit of an adventure. When you go walking in the countryside, when you see a stile, it's an invitation to explore, and that's why I like them so much. So yeah, I'm really pleased that I managed to get the stile, footpath sign and the lovely scenery in the background. I'm going to be using, materials. So materials, I'm going to do another acrylic painting for reasons I've said in the last videos, to keep the continuity. Surface, I haven't quite decided on what size canvas yet. I think I'll do that more as I do the sketches and stuff. So canvas, but that may change. The size of it may change. Time estimate. I'm probably going to be spending 20 minutes here sketching, just quick sketches, and then a couple of days back at the studio. Fundamentals, line. Now, at this point, the fundamentals are going to change depending on which sketch you're concentrating on and also the final painting. So I'm going to use this fundamentals on my planning sheet for the final painting, but as you do each sketch, if you're doing a line sketch, line's going to be the most important. If you're doing a colour palette sketch, colour's going to be important. If you're looking at how to capture the texture of the grass, or that texture's going to... So now you start to see how those fundamentals and actually focusing on them helps you concentrate on what you're actually trying to capture within each sketch, within each painting. Right, I'll get started on that and I'll see you in a bit. Hi there, I'm back in the studio and we've got a sketchbook, I'll just quickly show you the planning sheet again. I was wondering, first thing was I was wondering how to spell style. I'll sort that out. Surface, canvas, this is the size canvas I've decided on in the end. It's about 61 by 51 centimetres. And I went through the fundamentals. Line, this is for the final painting, not for each of the sketches. Line 2, tone 4, shape 4, colour 3, texture 4, composition 4. Now, then I started having a think about the sketches that I did. I did a bit of a tonal sketch, and that is where this particular scene caught my eye. It was when the sun caught just here on the top of the brickwork, and you could only get it if you sort of dipped your head, because the sun was catching with like quite a vivid green field behind it, in this picture. And then as you ducked down, the brickwork went into the dark green trees behind, and it really brought the top of that wall out. That was the bit I was trying to capture. Starting to think about what I'm trying to communicate to the viewer now. And it was that idea that styles and pathways and footpaths within the countryside, they've got a bit of magic about them, because you're being invited to explore. And when you're walking through the countryside and you're unsure of, am I allowed to go here, am I allowed to go there, to actually have that, yes, you can go this way, try going this way. It's a lovely feeling, and that's what I wanted to try and capture. So the way the sunlight caught the darks and shadows and in this stile and wall and the footpath post, that was what I wanted to communicate, that idea of, you can be invited into the countryside. So I did the colour sketch here. Now, very quickly, going back to fundamentals, this top one, line and tone, would have been 5s for me. The bottom one, colour, would have been 5 for me. I think that was it. When I actually started giving the fundamentals values, it really brought together in my head what I was actually trying to capture in sketches. So it's actually been quite good for my practice as well. So I've decided on the composition. Obviously the signpost isn't going to be so high up. There's definitely going to be some sort of sweep of the foreground coming up, and then the sweep of the background going that way, and then I'll work the clouds in with that. And it's the light on dark in the style and the wall that's actually going to make such a big difference in here. So I think one of the things I learned about here is, when you are out in the landscape, don't think that where you stood is going to be the best view. You may have to duck down a little bit to actually get a better view, or sit down, or find some other way of doing it. And also capturing it in a photograph and doing the sketches and then having a little bit of time to think about it has helped my decision making in what the final painting is going to be. And then I decided on the big canvas. So I'm going to get the paints out and I'm going to make a start. You can watch along and I'll see you in a bit. And here's the finished painting. This is Old Chamber footpath just up from Hebden Bridge. In this particular painting and in this exercise, we were taking the idea of the landscape and then breaking the landscape down into elements. Once you actually do that, once you break the landscape down into different elements, you can start to think about what you want to draw out of that to make something with the painting. And from now on, in exercise 11, the next one, we're going to start looking more at what are you trying to say in the paintings, what are you trying to capture. Starting to have a look at what decision processes you go through if you start to think about, or if you start to think more about the actual viewer who's going to be looking at your painting. So this one, we broke the painting down into elements, looked at the descriptions of those. In the next one, we'll do that again and then start to have a look at what those different elements are doing, what actions are they doing in the painting, and how that affects how you're going to use them. So thanks very much for doing this exercise. You can repeat any of these at any time. You can go over them as many times as you want if you're really enjoying them. You can mess around with different materials, how you're concentrating on the fundamentals. One time you can do more tonal, the next one you can do more line, next one even just looking at the textures of stone and wood and grass. You can have so much fun with the ideas. I think what I really want to get across as well is I'm not telling you how to paint. I'm not saying what's right or wrong in your painting or my painting. I just do what comes naturally with the decision-making processes I make. What I'm trying to explain to you is how to use those decision-making processes to get the most out of what you do. So I hope that's starting to work for you. We've got 2 exercises left in section A. So thanks very much for coming along on the journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.